I'm Steph. I live in South Staffordshire slash Wolverhampton, and I have got a young child called Luna. She's 2.5 years old, and I have another little girl called Aubrey, who is coming up to 3 months old. Aubrey, I gave birth just behind me. I opted for a home birth, yeah. But because I then fell under Wolverhampton midwives, I was supported by the Wolverhampton team. But actually, after my birth, I suffered a PPH, a hemorrhage. So I then had to get rushed into New Cross, into Wolverhampton. So it's pretty much like I gave birth there because obviously Aubrey came along with me. Thankfully, I follow Emma Pickett and her podcast, Mate's Milk. Thankfully, had done an episode on blood loss. Thankfully, even in my hormonal mind, I remembered the advice suffering blood loss was just to get them feeding as much as you can, as soon as you can. And I knew that I'd have more of a fight to bring my supply in than I had done with Luna. So I literally came out of my operation where they had to remove, because I had retained membranes, which is why I then started hemorrhaging. So I had to go into hospital and have a small operation to remove that. But literally, as soon as I came round, I grabbed Aubrey and just got her on my boob, and she didn't it really come off my boob until um, like 2 or 3 days later, when I'd got back home and I'd felt like, well, my milk had come in by that point, so I was like, I could relax a bit more. So although I'd got more cards against the start of my breastfeeding journey with Aubrey, my milk came in a lot quicker than it did with Luna. But again, that was down to um, education and knowing that I needed her on me 24/7. So Luna arrived 9 o'clock at night, and I came out of hospital midnight the following day. So just over 24 hours I was in hospital for. It wasn't great. It I was on a ward with four other people, but I think one person come to me to check on the feeding side of things. And she took like a quick look and she said, yeah, your latch is fine. And that was that really. She kind of left me to it. And thankfully the latch was okay. And we didn't have any, thank God to this day, both of my babies didn't have a tongue tie, which is incredible if you look at the statistics now, isn't it? Um, so I was just very, very fortunate, to be honest. And if I had had any issue with latch or hadn't had the education I'd personally sought out, that wouldn't have been enough support. Someone just coming saying, "Yeah, you look all right. Off I go." I wasn't breastfed for as long as I think my mom would have wanted to. It says that she thinks she breastfed for about 4 months, and then she went to formula. But I spoke to her about her reasons behind, because 4 months, just from my own experience breastfeeding Luna, 4 months just seems like a really weird time to stop, because you've done all the hard work, and around 4 months it's kind of like, yeah, she just found it a lot more difficult to go out and about as a breastfeeding mom, because it wasn't as socially acceptable to whip the boob out. And she felt that breastfeeding was keeping her quite isolated at home. So, yeah, that's her reason why she stopped it around that time, which I just think is so sad. I had a work colleague friend who had had a baby the year before me who breastfed. And I kind of looked up to her because she was like, mother incarnate, I used to call her. She was just like her destiny was to become a mom. So like when she came back off of maternity leave, we were obviously talking quite a lot, and she talked about her breastfeeding journey, and she then passed on a lot of the knowledge that she had taken on, how to actually breastfeed, but then also the benefits of it as well. Because of the date that I had Luna, so Luna was born in 2022, the support, um, antenatal support, was non-existent. It hadn't come back yet, or if it was there, then it was very, very limited. And then there wasn't much more before Luna arrived educationally, apart from maybe just starting to follow the right sort of people on Instagram and things like that. I signed up to a lot over social media, so I follow the Wolverhampton breastfeeding group, and there's a Dudley infant feeding group as well that I follow. But actually, not much comes through those. I find my support comes through the individual people that I follow talking about support. I totally missed talking about my husband. The fact that he was there 24/7, keeping me alive, cooking for me, making sure I had a drink, and supporting me, obviously, emotionally through it all as well. I definitely would have, would not have got as far as I did, I'm sure of it, without the support from my number one supporter, which is my husband. I felt a huge guilt with choosing breastfeeding because I thought that I was preventing my husband from having a relationship with his daughter. Looking back now, I'm just so glad that I didn't listen to that feeling for too long and pay it too much credit, because looking at his relationship now with Luna, I mean, Luna prefers him over me now. I took Aubrey into work just to let her meet some of my work colleagues. And she was feeding on me, and the bell went. I was talking to this one teacher in her room, and the bell went, and she had to go. She had to go on duty. So I then wanted to walk towards the staff room, which was only down the corridor, fortunately. So I just kept Aubrey on the boob, and my work colleague, who isn't a breastfeeder, turned to me and went, "Oh, you can't walk down there. There's going to be kids around." And I was like, can you see anything? Can you see my nipple right now?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "Well, it's fine. What, like, I can walk. I can walk down that corridor. It's fine." And I walked out the room, and there was some students there, and they just saw the baby. They were like, "Oh, it's a baby." They had no idea that I was breastfeeding at the same time. No idea at all. I'm sure of it. But yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting how suddenly, like, the teacher I was talking to was absolutely fine me doing it in her room with no one else around. But as soon as she thought that I was going to go into public with it out, it was suddenly taboo, and not a professional thing for them to see. And I did question it. Like, deep down, I was like, "Oh, am I going to get into trouble for this? Like, should I stop doing it or whatever?" But then I thought, if I went down Merry Hill, which is a shopping centre near us, and had the same age students walking past, in fact, that could well happen. I wouldn't think twice about having to put it away and whether it was suitable or not. I'd fight my cause because I'm avid in the fact that it should be seen. But why did I question it in a professional context?